Hey there, welcome back to Remnant. Today we're going to be doing a perfect dodge melee focused type of build. Formatting is going to be a little different obviously because I don't have the loadout screen up. Yeah, I'm just kind of rolling with it right now and just playing, right? But the whole idea is we have a bunch of various rings, our amulet, and effects that are going to happen whenever we dodge enemy attacks, and then it's going to do a lot of things, and we'll follow it up with a empowered neutral dodge attack. So bam. Just like that. That's the idea. Oh no, he comes at us, neutral dodge back, charge attack. And we've got the Enigma on, just follow it up with a little bit of lightning burst right there. And yeah, there it is. That's the build. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. But no, it's very similar to the last one I did before. I did one like a while back, but they have updated some things, right? And I mean, honestly, I'm pretty sure almost everything is exactly the same with a couple tweaks here and there. But we've got Birthright of the Lost, Mark of the Destroyer, Feedback Loop, Bridge Warden's Crest, and Burden of the Audacious. For a melee weapon, it's a Spectral Blade. You may have noticed it has a Shocker Mutator in there. That's a little off-brand for the perfect dodge thing, but the Whirlwind effect with Shocker is just so good. So fun. I really like it a lot. But, you know, obviously you don't have to do that. You could use one of your other mutators, like the... Oh, I forgot I got the Gladiator. I haven't upgraded it. You could use your Disengage or maybe the Opportunist one, so that you get enhanced melee attacks and stuff. But you'll notice every time we dodge, it's going to trigger the... It's going to trigger the Mark of the Destroyer for an explosion. It's going to trigger Feedback Loop for a lightning explosion, which will then apply Overloaded. And because we, dodged an enemy attack, that's going to enhance our melee damage by 20%. And so that's when we follow up with that fully charged Spectral Blade attack, so it's doing a lot more damage. And because it's hitting a lot of guys all at once, it tends to charge up the Shocker immediately and trigger it. And then we can immediately follow with, a whole bunch of shock effects. So we dodge, explosion, and they're all exposed because of our Birthright of the Lost amulet. So that means they're taking more damage. And then when we hit them with a Whirlwind, we're hitting everybody with a melee attack, followed by another shock lightning blast on top of it. So it ends up turning into quite a lot. And that's really the whole setup, pretty, simply put, right? I'm just going to do one of these. Pow. And that's also why I really like the Shockers thing in there, because the range you can hit guys on is great, because that's the problem with this setup, right? It's really good against enemies who are in your face, right? But when you have enemies at a distance flying in the air and stuff, it gets really difficult. You have to have the right weapon and the right tools to deal with them. And so that's where I really like the Shockers, because they can hit that big AoE. The Whirlwind from Spectral Blade just makes it the best setup. Now watch what happens when we Wormhole in. Look how it automatically triggers an explosion. Let's use our Juggernaut too. Wormhole again, neutral dodge back, another one of those. And everybody's pretty much gone. I think there might be something left. Wormhole got updated so that it can trigger perfect dodges. Now, I was under the impression at first that, I have to make sure I actually dodge an enemy attack in order to make it, work. However, that doesn't seem to be the way it actually needs to work. It seems like just by activating the skill, the game reads it as, oh, you used Wormhole. That is a perfect dodge, regardless of whether or not there's an enemy attack or not. And that might have been the only way they can make it work that way. So it's probably not intentional that you can trigger effects without enemies. So I try not to abuse that idea too much at all, right? It's going to happen whether I like it or not. But it does allow us to just dive in with a Wormhole, immediately explode, doing 341 explosive damage right there. 187 shock was more overloaded on top of it, and it will immediately apply exposed on those enemies right around us, because Birthright of the Lost got updated as well, so that now not only does the attacker, when you dodge their attack, get exposed, it also applies exposed to enemies right around you, which is great when we're surrounded, and especially when you consider that by dodging an enemy attack, we are also doing a lot of damage right around us. So now we're making the enemies right around us take more damage, and we're dealing a bunch of damage to them. In addition, the Wormhole is going to set off our Bridge Warden's Crest. So we Wormhole in, and then suddenly our melee damage is increased by 20%. And not only that, too, you also get the baseline Wormhole effect, where the next melee attack or range attack it's going to do 300% more damage. So suddenly that whirlwind we're doing is doing a ton of damage. And if you really wanted to, you know, you use the opportunist one so that the perfect dodge makes your next melee critical chance 100%. You could wormhole in, that's going to trigger this, and then that whirlwind is now 300% stronger, 320% if you include the Bridge Warden's Crest, and has a 100% increased critical chance. So like there's some really fun things for you to do here depending on how you want to do it, right? And then when you get like enemies like this, right, where they're just super melee focused, you know, you can do just fun dodges to deal with them. Look at the double trigger of the shocker. I mean, he didn't stand a chance. That dude does not, like, we don't even have to do any attacks for a lot of these, like, just trash guys, right? The explosions and the overload automatically do it for us. It's super clean. It's so satisfying to just dodge enemy attacks and then watch them go away. When you're rolling around in Yesha and you got the stupid roller guys, when they come rolling at you, you know what you do? You just roll through them like that, and that will trigger your explosions and get rid of them. It's really nice, you know? Kind of like any build though, this thing is going to do really well against some enemies and not very well against others. You know, like you can kind of see it when you have these flying fairies that are up in the sky. Like a lot of our effects are, you know, right around us. And then, you know, we're getting the increased melee thing. So if you don't have something like Spectral Blade, World's Edge, or another like ranged melee weapon, it's not going to be as effective, right? So you got to be careful with like what you're fighting and adjust it accordingly. You could pretty easily change this to be more like ranged focused if you really wanted to, right? Because like these don't have anything to do with melee or range damage, right? It's just an explosion around you. It's melee because it's right around you. However, I have points in amplitude increasing its radius, right? So it's making it essentially just better for us to hit more things from further away. The Birthright of the Lost is not a melee focused amulet. It's simply just a damage one. It increases your damage by 10% and then, you know, applies exposed so that enemies are now taking more damage, whether it's ranged, melee, mod, elemental, yada yada yada, right? So it's a couple kind of tweaks. You could just go with range damage, dodge the enemy attack, apply exposed to them, and then get some other benefits. And I'm working on a ranged kind of idea for this, utilizing a lot of critical chance things, because you've got the Akari Warband. Akari Warband will increase your crit chance and crit damage by 10% for 15 seconds. Now, because we have our exposed from Birthright of the Lost, you know, we dodge the enemy attack, applies exposed to them, and then we've got increased ranged critical stuff going on, right? Or not ranged, but just general, just increased crit stuff. Because we've dodged them, enemies are taking more damage. Then we put on this other ring. I can't remember the name of it. It is the, right here, Token of Favor. So now we do more damage, and then we get that increased crit chance against exposed targets. So now the target's exposed, taking 15% more damage. We have a 10% increased crit chance against that target. We have another 10% crit chance thanks to the Akari Warband and 10% more critical damage. And then we throw on the probability cord and start doing 20% more critical damage with that. And then, you know, depending on how I'm kind of feeling, I might tweak around a couple other things to work with it. But suddenly, you know, we've pivoted really hard from just that, like what I'm doing right now, which is explode enemies around us when we dodge and then, you know, hit them with a big melee attack. Now we're going into a momentum mutator ranged weapon with like a huge crit chance, huge crit damage, and we can suddenly be doing a couple thousand damage in a single hit. And the cool thing is too, like, even though like, yeah, you know, I've got this whole dodge thing going on, play smart. Like, I get really bent around the axle because I love doing the dodge thing, but there's no reason to do it if you don't have to. Like, I've definitely gone down many times because I've just been like, I have to dodge things because that's the whole purpose of the build. And then I flub it and I, you know, have to redo the whole section. But look how quickly the freaking shocker goes up. It's probably because it's hitting all this debris and that's counting as, you know, melee strikes to do the shocker mutator. And, you know, it probably shouldn't do that, but I'm not going to complain right now. Oh no. But let's say you wanted to use something else. What are some other good options for melee weapons? You know, if you're focusing on the dodge aspect and you want effects from the melee weapon to happen when you do dodge attacks, Atom Splitter, it's got that long range thing going on. The Feral Judgment has an effect as well. So does the Nightshade. Let's see. Chop. That might be the only... I think that's pretty much it for like unique dodge attacky kind of things. But like really from there, like you can kind of just use whatever melee weapon you have that you like. I personally do really like the katanas because when you get into just like those type of neutral evade attacks, they're very quick. Your recovery is pretty good as well. It works out pretty well for me anyways. Yeah, you know, let's put on the Atom Splitter. Atom Splitter, I really like. It kind of pisses me off though a little bit because I do not like the Greatsword neutral evade attack. When guys are like in my face, I have a really hard time like actually landing the attack, and I just get really frustrated. And the Atom Splitter, it has a bit of a hefty stamina cost with its neutral evade thing. Why can't I hit him? Oh my god. Thank you. Now you'll notice we're not healing up very quickly. It's because I don't really have any points in regrowth. We have the Burden of the Audacious on, which is a really fun a really fun ring to use because it turns, you know, a tool that you're already using and makes it your heal. Look at that dodge. Boom. Go back this way. Boom. Now, I was just talking about the... I'm getting really distracted. But the Burden of the Audacious, it reduces all our healing by 50%. However, whenever we actually dodge an enemy attack, it is going to heal us for 25% of our maximum HP, which is great because, like, there's oftentimes when you get a hit, when you are damaged, right? And you're like, I need to heal. Sometimes getting those chances to do the heal, it's kind of few and far between. So you got to keep dodging things to stay safe. And just by continuing to play the game and use these like mechanics, allows you to heal up. It can be a little tricky with some of the projectiles, like they're ranged bullet things. I'm bad at dodging. But, you know, you can just heal by continuing to play the game. And you don't have to worry about trying to find an opportunity to use your relic to heal up. And so I do really like that. Now, the stamina cost thing, right? And kind of speaking of healing, I'm using the Quilted Heart right now because this has a thing with dodges where your dodges will heal you. Now, that healing is cut for us because of the Burden of the Audacious. But the other effect of it is that you don't lose stamina. It negates stamina drain. So we can sit there and spam dodge attacks, dodges, charged melee attacks. You know, you can use all of those things back to back to back without, you know, using any stamina at all. And for that purpose, it can be very strong, right? Boom, and slice. Now we get those neutral evades with the disengage. It's going to enhance our damage of our greatsword because we have the disengage mutator. But look how slow these dodge attacks are. Look how you'll land off to the side if you don't like. I just don't like these neutral evade attacks of the greatsword. Yeah, it could be okay. So I have a few points into fitness, making our evade distance a little bit more. I think if I had that maxed out by moving further away from the enemy and then closing in the gap a little bit better, like I think that would maybe work better. But as is, it's just really kind of just annoying. Yeah. Stream coupler. Some other things that I've got going on for the build, if I would actually decide to fully explain it, right? We're running Invader as our primary archetype because we get the Shark perk and stuff. It's primary because I just kind of chose it that way. It is kind of nice to leave the decoy because when the enemies are, you know, distracted, when we use our Wormhole, it means that we're going to deal more damage to the enemies not targeting us. And then when they're distracted by our decoy, we actually get lifesteal, which is nice considering the fact that our regular healing is cut by Burden of the Audacious. So I like that. Plus, Wormhole is perfect for what we're doing. If you don't like Wormhole, you know, and you really don't, you're just not about it. Avoid Cloak, automatic perfect dodges, fits right on theme with what we're doing here, right on brand. And then Challenger is a secondary archetype because I focus melee. I'm closing the gap a lot, which means we want to get that 35% bonus to all of our damage, especially, which is nice, like when you consider that we are doing a pretty fair amount of elemental damage with like kind of what I'm doing right now. And this one only increases our ranged and melee damage. And then you get the strong back perk, so we can get heavier armor while still having a medium load. We could adjust our armor as well, get to a light armor load as well, or weight class, whatever you want to call it, so that we get better dodges, recovery, etc. Juggernaut is just fun as well. The guns are not important, but I mean, right now I am using the pulse rifle as overflow and nearsighted. I've got Enigma on, you know, it's got the Chaos Driver mod, and Bandit is what I decided to put in there. As far as my relic goes, it's got extra health in there, elemental damage because I was doing the shocker stuff, and then reduced skill cooldown so I could do the wormhole more. As far as the armor goes, I got Technician body plate, leggings, and gloves, and the Navigator helmet. I kind of like the idea of this. Like, this is kind of cheesy for me, but you know, the Navigators in Nerud like hook up into the ship, the planet, to navigate it, and they've got the Ambit Ember, which is basically spice from Dune. Like, they're Dune navigators who are using drugs to see the future, the ley lines, or whatever the heck you want to call them and stuff, right? And so I like the idea of our character being, you know, jumping wormholes, dodging enemy attacks and stuff, and, you know, using Ambit Ember to do better. You know, it just seemed to fit on with what we were doing here. There is another kind of fun interaction I should mention, and that's with the Ring of Omens. Ring of Omens makes your evades cost gray health instead of doing stamina. So, you know, you essentially don't use stamina anymore with those dodges, and that's pretty nice. But it's fun using it with the Burden of the Audacious, because when you dodge and then you lose health, if you actually successfully dodge an enemy attack, it's going to immediately heal you. So you don't actually lose any health for dodging. So it's a fun interaction. You just have to actually like dodge an enemy attack, because if you don't, then you are going to start losing that health, right? What I should have done, I should have actually tried this with a like Misty Step thing, using one of the other Yeisha amulets in order to do it. But I really just wanted to, use a Birthright of the Lost, right? All right, we're gonna fight whatever this firebomb lady's called. Don't know how it's gonna go. So like, kind of like I was saying earlier, you know, the setup is, I mean, like most builds, not gonna be perfect for every single situation, right? So this one, you know, it's gonna be sort of okay because we can like hit her with the whirlwind. Unfortunately, she's got elemental resistance, and that's kind of annoying. I could do this and then just neutral dodge whirlwind. So at that point, it's not really like a dodge build because, right, I gotta like dodge those. I did apply expose to her, so that helps us out a little bit, right? And then we just kind of try to wait and dodge those things so that we can keep triggering things on her. Didn't really work that time. But we can keep hitting her from a distance with our melee attack because of, you know, the whirlwind thing. And then if I'm not... Oh, I did it there. You know, if I'm not being super good about some of the dodges, I can use a wormhole to, like, auto-trigger some of my stuff. Go ahead and throw another one. Oh, okay. Do it again. Boom. Yeah. Oh, that hit her a little bomb. Where are you at? All right, you know what I can do too? We'll just use the Quilted Heart, and we're just gonna do this, I guess, because sitting here in the middle, she's like not on us, and we'll just do Spectral Blade things, right? There's some kind of gunman somewhere hitting us, which is a little annoying. Quilted Heart is now over, sort of okay. Oops, now we're like completely out. Oh, hit me! Swing, swing! No? Come on. There we go. Alright, let's go back over here. Come on. Oh, that's a regular soldier person. Juggernaut will help us out a little bit, I guess. Let me see. Here we are. Oh, I flubbed it. Man. Let's go ahead and just get this going. This is also going to give us some heals, just like as we randomly dodge, right? Let's teleport in and then hit her with that. I would just keep going like this. Some of the boss fights are kind of like this, but others are a lot more like fast and engaging. For example, the Ravager, because he's constantly kind of running in on you. He's, you know, combo attacks like multiple back-to-back swings, and so you can be dodging his multi-hit combos and get multiple triggers off of your, you know, off of your rings. You're constantly getting that damage buff going on. Like, and those kinds of bosses where they're like in your face and kind of just attacking, you can get a lot of mileage out of it. Is it like the most efficient thing ever? No, but it is pretty fun to just dodge, do damage, and heal, right? So that's pretty much it, man. That's the setup. That's the build. Give it a go for yourself. I am looking at making, you know, a different one that utilizes some of some ranged stuff and crit chance, crit damage type of things. It should be pretty fun, I think. And the cool thing about that idea is that it doesn't actually require ranged or melee. I also just realized I could fight Faerin, like, right now. Alright, we'll fight Faerin too. We'll do that. Alright, it has been a while since I fought this guy. So, yeah, let's see how it goes. I don't know. Should maybe be okay. He's pretty aggressive with melee attacks, right? So there should be a pretty good boss for this setup. Such a cool, like, intro thing to him. Yeah, I'm a fan. Alright, here we go. Hardy Spiteful. Is Juggernaut it? Oopsies. Oh, I should have held off on that one a little bit, maybe. There we are. Oh, you got distracted by my thing, huh? Oh no. What are you gonna do? Got a nice sweet dodge on that thing. There we are. I'm gonna have to be careful with some of his attacks because he will often, like, you know, do some kind of like feints into other attacks and combos. So, like, if I'm not careful about it, he might, yeah, see how he does that quick one? So I gotta make sure I'm doing the right attack at the right time, and I'm not too hard committing to things. The Spectral Blade and Shocker's amazing for this, right? Because it's just clearing out all these extra little things that he summons. Oh, see, there's that feint. Ooh, you thought you would get me with the delay, you fool. Feeling pretty good so far, honestly. Just keeping it nice and cool. Get the damage as we dodge. We're super able to clear out his little summon sword portals. And yeah. What'll be interesting is the third phase of him when he's like flying around, because my opportunities for damage there are pretty slim. See, the recovery was too slow, man. Damn. I can do one of these though. Teleport in. That's going to heal me. Trigger a bunch of effects. Just like that. He's got 3 stacks of... Oops, I did that too early. Oh, too early again. Oh, no. We're going to use our relic now. Roll that one. Dodge that. And because he was distracted by the clone, we get a little bit more damage. Ooh. I was really close on that. He does sync up some of his like big sword slams with his other slams. So depending on like how you're doing, if you're not immediately staggered, you can dodge both of his attacks at the same time. I let myself get hit by the one projectile which staggered me and let him get that hit on me. We can totally do this fight though. All right, phase 2 or phase 3. It's taken us 2 tries to get here. You know, we had that first attempt. This is the second attempt. But here we go. I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to go for us. Because now, you know, he's freaking wisping around. And so he's not going to be on top of us like he was. Good dodge. Some more hits. Damn. All right. And we'll just kind of move around. Could do some Juggernaut for more bulwark and stuff, and melee damage. Where's he at? Good dodge. 1, 2, get another one. Alright, yeah, it's gonna take a little bit. Maybe I can use a Wormhole to get a really big hit, right? Because that's gonna increase our melee damage by 300% for the next one. So then I could do that. Oh! Yeah, that was a lot better. Alright. Where's he at? 2 of them. I dodged too early. I get so bent around the axle about, I gotta get the perfect dodge. Ah. There we go. That was a good dodge. And then... not enough. Alright, another round. Maybe if my wormhole is off cooldown, I'll be able to actually deal good damage to him. Don't know where he's at, though. There he is. Teleport in. There it is. Alright. Alright, yeah. Took me a couple tries there. I kept messing up, you know, here and there. Making mistakes, and then ultimately, yeah. But you can see sort of what I mean as far as, like, the build is going to do better against certain enemies. Like when we fought Gwendil the Unburned, that was kind of annoying. But then you fight this dude, and he's got an awesome pacing with, like, melee attacks and moving and disengaging, and so you can dodge his attacks, doing damage to him each time, and then counterattack with, you know, your evade attack, fully charged one, doing, like, lightning, whirlwind, AoE to get things, like, very satisfying. I do really enjoy this build, and, I mean, the Spectral Blade is just absolute top tier. One of the best melee weapons in the game. Makes this build so much better. Like, you can do it with other weapons, but this is like the one you want if you want to do it. But now that's the end of the video. Thank you guys for checking it out. Hope you enjoyed it. Give it a go for yourself, and yeah, until the next one, take care.